check this baby out. Today we're looking at this beautiful watch that I have. This is my limited edition Metal Gear Solid 5 watch. It is an LCD screen. It's made from wired. If you hit this button, this screen lights up. It's got so many features on it. It's pretty wild. If you go to the mode here, it changes time, goes to the stopwatch mode, no data. I didn't do that part. That's the other time. You can see I didn't set that other time. And it goes right back to where we are. This little button, I believe, yeah, there, that turns the little, see, that comes on, and then every hour it makes that same little noise. So I have that turned off right now. But the battery in this watch, okay, the battery in this watch is 10 years it'll last. And we're nearing that 10-year mark. I don't see any video at all on YouTube on how to change the battery on this. If you want, you can go ahead and send it to Seiko for them to change it for you, but I'm sure that's not exactly gonna be cheap. Now, what you can do is you can go ahead and buy these, right? Now these, it does run on lithium batteries, which is why it runs 10 years. I have no idea why when they released this watch, they didn't decide to go ahead and make it run on something that's not some lithium battery from Energizer that needs to be changed every 10 years. But if you check out what I'm going to put here, it shows there that the battery could only last maybe 3 years. Then if you check what I'm putting here, it's showing that the screen could go bad if you keep the screen running. So once I actually change the battery in this, I might just take the battery out and let it just sit. Because keeping the battery in, if you're just keeping it for like a collector, that could actually be damaging the screen in like the long run. So let's check this out. I want to show you something a little different. I grabbed this. This is very similar. Does a lot of the same stuff. Now this one is fully set. There we go. See it light up a little bit there. Now, I changed the battery on this one on my own as almost like a practice to change this battery because this is such a highly collectible item. Now, these are collectible too. This wasn't like super cheap, but these are just so collectible. I'm like, okay, before I change this battery, let's learn how to change this battery. And it wasn't bad. You can see nothing's really damaged back here. It's pretty clean. But the screws back here were unbelievably cheap looking and junky. And it was really hard to do. What I ended up using was, had to use this Flathead out of this little collection. I have this collection of screwdrivers, little bunch there. And this is the biggest it goes. The green is the biggest. The green is the screwdriver version. The screwdriver version wouldn't work on that, but the Flathead did. I know that probably doesn't make a lot of sense. You're just going to have to trust me on that one. These aren't numbered or anything like these are. Now, side by side, they are super similar. This one does have the little yellow thing in the middle. It does say wired in the middle there. The case looks a little different. It's pretty cool to wear though on like a NATO strap. I don't mind this. So I want to change this battery. Maybe once I change it, take it out though, and then I'm not like beating it up, because you can beat the screen up from what I was reading by actually just keeping it running and running and running. You can actually just keep damaging this screen by having it run over and over and over again. You're actually hurting the screen over time. I don't know, I know they're putting that in there to kind of cover their butt. I know when it comes to stuff like that, a lot of that is legal stuff. If you're buying a watch, that's going to cost you a nice cup of tea there. They're covering their butt there. They got to put anything that could go wrong. Let's start taking the screws out of the back of this. Now, what I did do to keep this extra safe is I got this tape, and I'm going to explain what this tape is for when we get there. Check the condition of this thing out. This thing is in pretty flawless condition. But take a minute to look at how much better the screws are on this one versus this one. They used like the cheapest possible, junkiest screws on the one on my left hand versus the one on my right hand. You know, with only 2,500 of these ever made, I really, really don't want to be messing with anything or breaking anything, scratching anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tape, and I'm going to kind of tape around where the screws are as almost like a shield. That way when I'm screwing down, because I don't really have like a clamp or anything to keep it in place. So that way when I'm unscrewing, that way if something slips, it's not going to scratch the back of that watch. All right, so you can see the masking tape now all around those screws. That way if something slips, I'm not going to damage or scratch the back of that watch. Because, you know, if I decide that I'm just going to keep this in a drawer or something and never use it, never really stare at it, never show it off, then I really just want it in good condition, especially knowing there's only 2,500 of them on the planet. And if it's not running, I can look at somebody and say, look, I took the battery out. So you're going to have to put a battery in. Now, this part's going to be interesting. Now, I'm going to warn you now, this part I have to get to the side. I can't look through the camera to do this part. To unscrew these, I need to be the one unscrewing them. I'm going to have to make sure that, you know, the camera's looking at it, so I'll do it slowly, but I'm going to have to be the one. There we go. Just like that. Now there is something interesting about how that light works I want to show you guys, because that was the wildest thing that I saw when I took apart the other one. Okay, I took apart the other one, I put it back together, and then all of a sudden the light doesn't work. And I was like, well, what happened? I don't understand. Why doesn't the light work? And I'm going to show you what happened. I think it's pretty interesting how they did that. Of course, you know, I'm going to go through all this and it's going to be, but it never scratched anything. These, you know, they had these in tight. Move this a little bit. You can see it's not like perfect. The camera angle, I'm sorry about that. It's not. I could go this way too. There it is. There we go. All right, now this is inside of the watch. The battery, obviously, is right here. The wildest thing about this one, oh look, this has the other ones don't have this to protect from the waterproofing. This one's much more waterproof. Yeah, this is a much nicer watch than the other ones are all around, really. This gray piece here, right here, that is what triggers the light when you hit the button in the front, which is pretty bizarre. The makeup of this watch is really bizarre. Okay, what we can do is use a smaller screw, because I know how to get that out. And that'll trigger that to flop out. This side right here has like a hook. Okay. So you unhook that side. It's like this watch was made never to have its battery replaced, which is what drives me nuts. It's like, why would you make it like this? Why wouldn't you make it so it's a little easier to replace its battery? Is my big concern owning this watch. That's the frustration. Maybe concern. Let's try it. We're gonna try the yellow one, because you gotta get right in there and get this out. So you get this out. There we go. Got it. That's the frustration I have with this watch. Okay, it's like, why? What? There it is. Why make this like this? How crazy is this? Okay, so then you have to like literally like rip this off. You got to remember that it's showing you, hey, there it is. And like it's not something that just comes off. You have to like pry all this off. Like the last one I did was actually easier. Which is funny, because that's showing you that this one was like put on better. Just give me the effing battery off. There it is. And pop goes the wheel. And there it is. It's getting the 3-volt energizer. And that goes over here. Let's do a nice little drama. That's when these come in. You take one of these. It says it right there. Energizer 3-volt. The trouble is, this is a real big pain in the booty right here, because you hear that click? That's kind of like a hook sound, right? But you can't do it that way, because right here, you see this part right here? This is just going to jam. So what you have to do, now when I say jam, I mean collide. And watch this. This is that part I was telling you that controls the light. Make sure that's there. And don't forget, oh, see, it flopped right out. That part just goes right right in there. This little knob here, okay, that just goes right in this hole. But again, watch your waterproofing. First of all, get this. Give me this so I can see it, because that happened to me with the last one I did, and it was a real pain in the butt. You have to make sure that's in there, or you're never going to have any lighting effects. I can already see the lighting effects, I believe. It's amazing that it's stuck up like that. Okay. You have to slide it right here. See how it's in there? Looks nice, right? Like right here. You're going to try to move this hook. Make sure the flathead's down. Try to push it, because you got to try to just get it in there. Now you need to get a flatter, get your green flathead, push it down. You got to go like right in the middle of that, and you got to just like that and push. Got to get it and push it in there. Sometimes you got to use one of these to really help yourself, and I'm going to have to do that. All right. This helped a lot to get through exactly what I was doing here. And it just had to hook in there. It was hard to get in there. It just had to hook. That's hooked. That's hooked. This thing is hooked back together. Oh boy. It's always something. All right, got them hooked. Nice and hooked. Gotta watch out for this rubber piece on the side. Now I gotta put this rubber piece back in, or that light's not gonna work. Just make sure it's all straight. Like this. And there it is. And now, for the real fun part, screwing it all back together. You know, it's funny. This one was so much easier to do because it didn't have a lot of the same features, and I really wasn't expecting what I was getting with the Metal Gear Solid version. Boom. We're going to make sure that light still works. It does. That's beautiful. I'm going to have to set the clock to match this clock. But this definitely is not water resistance like this is. And there you have it, guys. The battery has officially been changed in this bad boy, and yeah, outside looking pretty good. Oh, the case, it was pretty good. These NATO straps are fantastic. And now the company's not paying me to do it, so can't really say who the company is, but fantastic NATO straps. Check it out next to the other guy. I mean, yeah. It's pretty wild stuff there. That was not easy. I hope you guys enjoyed the video for sure. I'll definitely be putting this on a NATO and wearing it. But now I definitely know that this does not have the waterproofing that this bad boy does. I mean, this was built so much different on a couple different levels, and I just can't justify wearing it seeing that there's only 2,500 in the world. I can't do it. At least now I know I got another 10 years on the battery, boys and girls. 10 more years. I do have to look into the screen, though. It might be worth, doing what I did with the screws and taking it all out and just letting it sit there, not run at all. I mean, like I said, I'm not wearing it in the first place. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I appreciate the views. I appreciate the thumbs up. Please leave a comment. Definitely subscribe to the show. I hope, matter of fact, since I am rambling, I hope you out there, that's right, I hope you were looking to change the battery on this watch and you stumbled across this video. Only 2,500 ever made. Come on, give me a break. Thanks again for stopping by, guys, and I'll see you next time on another episode of It's Complicated.